Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through nerd and pop culture. I'm Jody Kite.
I'm Ethan Skinner.
I'm James McCarthy.
I'm Brady Davis. Is this like a drive time radio thing?
Like
There was a lot of enthusiasm in this opening.
Ow, the Wolfman Jack's here.
You did not have that much enthusiasm before that button was hit.
I
asked you if you had a bit, and then you said no, and then your bit was fucking high energy.
I said I didn't know, so that's not true.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not a big sports guy, but I always loved the sports announcers back in the day, like Bob Costas, you know, Howard Cosell, you know, those guys. I thought I'd bring that, you know, energy into the room.
The voice of sports.
Yeah, you really.
The voice of sports.
I mean, you've definitely excited me.
I can tell by your sarcasm.
I need you to stop more. Instead of Jody, I need Wody.
Oh, I can't do the woe. I can't do the woe. I'm not Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes.
Speaking of Cody Rhodes, I watched Raw Monday.
Nice.
I'm gonna start with me. It was all right, you know. It really.
I wouldn't expect any more.
I want Dwayne Johnson to figure out whether he wants to be in wrestling or doesn't want to be in wrestling.
So what's more awkward than The Rock coming to SmackDown and cutting a promo that doesn't really sound like it's going anywhere, and then on Monday having Cody and Seth Rollins cut a promo about that promo and try and figure out what the fuck to do with it because no one knew what The Rock was going to say.
Somehow, Dwayne Johnson has got. I guess when he signed up to be whatever the thing he is for TKO, he gave him some privileges to where he could just say, "Hey, I'm showing up for SmackDown, or I'm showing up for Raw. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do, but and I don't want anybody writing what I'm going to do.
He's just winging it.
I'm just going to show up and wing it, and then you have to deal with it."
The tone shifts with The Rock and things that have been talked about with The Rock have gone between if you watched Schindler's List and followed it with "It's a mad, 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 mad world."
Yeah.
It is polar opposite. There's no tone or messaging that makes sense. It's like, Cody, you're my favorite. No, Cody, I'm gonna kill you. Hand to throat. Oh, I gotta film shit. So, Cody, you and I are best friends, and I can be here for WrestleMania. Cody, I want to own your soul. What?
The wildest thing is that last year they took a hiccup because The Rock wanted to supplant himself into the position of being main event in WrestleMania. It didn't work out. They dialed into him being a heel corporate character. It worked really well with what they did, with what they had. It worked really well. And now he's coming out as quote unquote the final boss character, but it's not the final boss character. It's the Rock character that would show up every once in a while and wonder why fans are booing him, even though he would talk shit about the town the week before.
And then use massive amounts of curse words that have to be bleeped out. The first time that was interesting, because there was line blurring at a level that you knew this was still kayfabe, but they're telling a story and you don't know where it's going, and there's unpredictability and there's an energy to it.
Yeah.
And now it's just scatterbrained.
Yeah.
I don't look at this. I look at the NXT after the Raw, the first Raw of the year, the one that was done on Netflix, the NXT that followed it, and it was just rambling.
Yeah.
He's literally just rambling like, "Hey, you know, we got some good stuff here," and then something slightly heelish, and then and there's something to be said about a face that doesn't know that they're a heel, and there's something about a chaotic heel. But when we're mixing too much of this together and there's no direction to it, or there's no discernible direction to it, it leaves me with like, what did I just watch?
And he makes a post on Twitter about his character while also being in character.
Yeah, it's literally like he doesn't care about the story or what storylines are being told or anything like that. It is literally like he wakes up that week and is like, I want my ego stroked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell them that I'm going to be on Raw, or I'm going to tell them that I'm going to be on SmackDown.
Uh-huh.
And that's it. And it's just, you have to warp the things to how he wants it. I don't know what incriminating pictures or he has to where now all of a sudden he has this kind of
I think a big
power, but it is
and also for me, the reasoning why he's on TV or that he puts himself on TV is for one, when you're leading up to WrestleMania, there's a lot of outside wrestling eyes that are on the product, and so if he's got any projects going on, that's going to throw more eyes on whatever shitty project that he's doing right now.
Yeah, but I don't even think he has a project coming.
He
up.
probably doesn't.
Like after Red 1, he's kind of like stop.
That didn't do very well.
He's basically pretending like he's not an actor right now.
Yeah.
I think the SmackDown, the last SmackDown he appeared on, like I think it spiked the ratings by like 250,000.
It did.
There's also that to take
Yeah.
place. He is a draw for wrestling fans.
He is,
and particularly for WWE.
He's a draw for people who aren't necessarily going to watch SmackDown every single
Right. But
and-
they'll watch WrestleMania.
But they'll watch
Right.
WrestleMania
Right.
and they'll watch all of the Rock's movies because
they're big name
except
marks.
apparently Red 1 because nobody watched that.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Well, that's also, I think I don't know what part, but I think it is a part of it is just the streaming landscape in general. You have so many things to watch.
Right.
Red 1 is not going to stand out.
Well,
Even
Red
when-
1 was in theaters.
was in theaters?
Yes.
I thought it was just a Netflix.
It was in theaters.
It was in
Okay.
theaters.
It was in theaters and it's an Amazon Prime movie.
It
Oh,
is
it's
an Amazon Prime movie,
okay.
but
but
it
they
was
put
in
it but they
theaters.
put it in theaters because Dwayne Johnson wasn't going to let them
Didn't
just
Netflix have something red?
Yes,
Red
yeah.
Notice.
Red Notice.
Red Notice.
Red
okay,
Notice,
thank
Yes,
you.
that's
That-
why they
that
all
also-
run together.
that also
you could
had
look at them
The Rock.
side by side and not tell and not be able to tell which one is which.
Except one has Santa, and I don't know which one has Santa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Is Gal Gadot Santa? I don't know.
Who knows?
I would watch a movie where Gal Gadot is Santa.
I would also.
Just the novelty of it.
Yeah, I would
do
also
that.
do that.
Nah, I'm good.
But then I wouldn't know what the title was because it would be red blank.
Well,
this is true.
the show was all right. It felt a little off, and The Rock wasn't even on Raw. There was a really good couple of matches there. There was a triple threat between Ludwig Kaiser, Penta, and Butch.
That's
And
not
then
a
No,
wrestler.
Pete Dunne.
I know.
He's being called Pete Dunne.
I
That's,
know.
And then
Let's
Kaiser
respect
won
the
that
fact
one.
they gave him his name back.
What's
That's a
that?
really good.
Kaiser won in
Yeah.
a really good match.
Kaiser
that's a-
won
well,
by
yeah, that's
pinning
three
not
really good guys.
by not pinning Penta. He pinned.
Well, of course, that's what Pete Dunne
you
was
gotta
there
you gotta
for.
protect Penta.
Yeah.
And like the announcers are like, well, I guess technically Penta has lost his first match in WWE. Nobody's gonna care. It's not a singles match. It's not gonna count towards any sort of protecting him thing.
Just briefly, I love the chemistry between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins.
Oh yeah,
I think the two,
It's really good.
They had to work with nothing, and I think they germinated a few seeds of interest. I'm curious what's going to happen on Saturday night in Toronto.
I will say this though. Just as wrestling fans, I'm not going to target the whole place as a fan base for anything else. But as wrestling fans, Cincinnati sucks.
Well, you don't have to say just as wrestling fans. It's Cincinnati. It sucks.
The week before,
Might I point to you, Skyline Chili?
like 2 weeks
I was
prior.
about to say the only two things I know about for Cincinnati is Skyline Chili and WKRP in Cincinnati.
And, yeah, I'm going to mention that in a
And
second.
the Bengals. I'll give them the Bengals.
I'll mention WKRP in a second. So Logan Paul comes out first.
Okay, I already hate it.
Yeah.
You do, and the fans sort of did, but they sort of didn't because they were kind of like just there. And he's out there, and CM Punk comes out there, and they're cutting promos on each other, and it's getting awkward because Logan Paul is expecting more boos. Like he was getting like Dom Mysterio heat the last time he was on the microphone,
Yeah.
and now he's sort of getting that, and he's sort of having to say a lot of bad shit to the fans that he normally wouldn't to try and get a reaction.
Yeah.
Because everybody legitimately hates him because when he had Michael Cole on and Michael Cole's like, yeah, people don't really hate you. They hate you as a character. He goes, no, I really don't like anybody. I'm not playing a character. And he's not really wrong.
Yeah.
That's how he is. Michael Cole made a reference to Les Nessman. Ethan, if you don't know who Les Nessman is,
Correct.
you
He doesn't,
shouldn't.
yeah.
You shouldn't, because Les Nessman was on a sitcom called WKRP in Cincinnati, which aired from like 1978 to 1982. That's the one thing you might have heard from it is there's a clip that goes around Thanksgiving where the manager of the of WKRP said, "As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly," because they did a turkey drop.
Yeah, and
Okay,
turkeys
And they
can't
literally
fly.
dropped turkeys.
I do remember that.
So Les Nessman, and no one, Pat McAfee didn't even have a response to it because he probably didn't fucking know who Les
Yeah.
Nessman was.
Yeah, how do
He
you
thought
respond
he was
to that?
probably no. Who was that manager in the '90s that managed Psycho Sid?
Ooh, jam.
Okay, let me start naming off managers. Okay, so we have Slick. We have it's not Jim Cornette. It's not a Sensational Sherry.
It's a male. Glasses.
Finkel.
No, not
Not
Howard
Howard Finkel?
Not Howard
Okay.
Finkel. No, Howard Finkel is one of the greatest voices of wrestling.
Sure.
Yeah, I can see the guy. I just
I
don't
know who
remember
you're
his
talking
name.
about.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Harvey
Whippleman.
Harvey
Harvey
Whippleman.
Whippleman.
Yeah.
I was about to say he should look like Howard Finkel, but not really.
Yeah.
The name sounds like he should look like a nerd. But yeah. Going back to the 90s, I watched the 1996 Royal Rumble.
Okay.
And it's not as bad as the 1990 Royal Rumble, because in the 1990 Royal Rumble, you realize that they really overdid the managers. There was at one point like 5 of them out there. There was Bobby Heenan, Sensational Sherry was out
And
there.
God bless Bobby. He goes out. His guy gets eliminated. He goes back. His next guy comes up. So he has to come out again.
Yeah,
and he does it like 3 or 4 times.
Jesus.
Yeah, at one point, both of his guys were fighting each other.
Yep.
Which happened a lot. We were trying to
tension in the Heenan family.
in the to me, one of the worst bumps outside of like the accidental of Shawn Michaels like touching his foot on the floor with his one foot, because that wasn't a rule before. In the 1990 Royal Rumble, they will say all you have to do is throw somebody over the top. They don't say both feet have to touch, because that didn't happen until Shawn Michaels accidentally touched one of his feet on the floor. In 1996, there's a point where Vader comes in, and he's around like 12 or 15 when he comes in, like the number 12 or 15.
Again, for our non-wrestling fans, Royal Rumbles are typically 30 people. 2 people start out every 2 minutes. Another person comes in. So if you're number 15, you're in the middle of the pack for coming in.
Jake the Snake is already in the ring. All right. Now, another guy.
Is this the one Jake no-sold?
No, not at all. So I can't remember who came out next. It wasn't Aldo Montoya, which is just incredible, but he does come out later.
The 96 Rumble.
Yeah, the 96 Rumble. Look at like number 17 or something. I don't remember who it is. Anyway, doesn't matter. So Jake the Snake's got that guy in like a headlock, and you could see that he's like yelling at Vader to hit him with a clothesline. Like he moves back and moves forward. Well, they're all the way towards the side of the ropes where they're at the hard camera side of the ropes. And Vader finally clotheslines him. Jake the Snake lets go of the guy and twinkle toes his way all the fucking way to the other side of the ropes and falls over the ropes. That's where the term I came up with, Jake in the bump, that's where it comes from.
The guy that came in after Jake Roberts is Dory Funk Jr.
It wasn't Dory Funk Jr. Is this 1996, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. It wasn't Dory Funk Jr. It wasn't after Jake the Snake Roberts. It's after Vader.
After Vader.
Yeah. Who came out after Vader?
Doug Gilbert.
After Doug Gilbert.
Squat team.
Are you making these up?
No,
he's not. He's
After-
not.
Who's
No
after?
one hurts.
Who,
I know. I knew Dory Funk Jr. Those other two, besides Owen Hart, that you named, you could have fucking made up.
who's after Owen Hart?
Shawn Michaels.
We've already
Yeah.
done one viewer discretion, but Doug Gilbert, I
Let me see
believe,
that.
is the Gilbert brother that accused.
Oh yeah. So there's a promo.
Censored.
This was on television.
Two things. One,
No, we're live.
One, allegedly.
Yeah.
Two.
No, this is what he said.
You're gonna beep that part out where I say
Censored.
Please.
Okay. So future Jay censored for the whole thing. Yep. So that was a thing.
Anyway, it was Savio Vega that that Jake the Snake had in the headlock before Vader.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
I can pick him out of a lot.
There was a lot of like interesting characters in that Royal Rumble. I watched the TV show. The newest season of Love Is Blind dropped last week.
Cool.
And there's a lot of people that did get engaged, and there's a lot of people that didn't get engaged. Right now, they're in Mexico, seeing if it's going to work out before they even get to the proposal part. Well, to the actual wedding part of it. So
it's such a nice, with such beautiful vistas to not be able to see because
Yeah.
they're all blind. Okay,
they're all literally blind. That would be an interesting show right there. Love is literally blind.
They could do Love Is Blind Hawaii and just do it on a film set. How will they know?
Well, they've done it in Germany, and they've done it in every other country, literally every other country. And I watched another thing on Netflix, but this was a movie from a few years ago that I hadn't got around to, and I started watching and finally watched it. It's The King. Ask me what that's about.
What is The King about?
What is it about?
It's about the rise of King Henry V.
Oh, is this a Chalamet
joint? Yep, it's
Okay,
Timothy Chalamet, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, it's Timothy Chalamet.
I heard good things about
You
it.
get to see trebuchets shoot fire into a castle.
I love it.
That's the shit.
I love it.
Just
the shit.
nothing but just trebuchets like shooting fireballs into a castle, and
That's all I need.
there is one. It's not supposed to be funny, but I laughed out loud when there was a point in if you know history, this isn't really a spoiler, where one of the princes of not Amber, France, they're quote unquote they're surrendering. At least this castle, they're surrendering, and so they meet up at Henry V's encampment or whatever. And he's sitting there on a throne. This is like some Game of Thrones shit. This dude's sitting on this little chair. There's two of his guards over there, and he's like, "I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. You're gonna grovel before my feet and all this other shit." And I was like, Timothy Chalamet's like, "Get him out of here." And then they show a scene where these kids are the squires or whatever, which are 10 or 12 or whatever, are in the woods in France gathering wood for the fires or whatever, and then you see an arrow go through one of them, and it's that guy. He's just stabbing children. It's like, wow. He's like, don't worry about you. I'm gonna let you live. And he hands one of the other boy's head. He goes, "Here, take this present to the king for me."
Jesus.
I'm like, this guy's fucking evil, bro.
Now that's French extremity.
That is a fucking French.
That's hot tension.
That is hot tension right there.
At least the movie gives you an idea of who you should hate.
Oh yeah, immediately. Which is also the rest of Henry V's family before he becomes king. His dad is an asshole and his brother is an idiot. So
like most families.
100%. But
can we talk very briefly on his SAG Award acceptance speech for the Bob Dylan role?
Sure.
I liked it. I actually watched it. A lot of people are saying it comes off arrogant. I think he's saying that I want to be one of the greats.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I'm working towards.
Yeah.
And this is the first point of validation that I read.
Right.
Because he was inspired and he wants to be inspiring. I didn't take it. I took it kind of midway between being humble, but also having the confidence to be able to say something like that. I didn't take that as arrogant enough.
There's a really fine line between arrogance and confidence, depending on how it's presented or how you take it. And I think that, out of all of the actors, especially in the small amount of young actors right now that are in Hollywood, I mean young between mid 20s to 40, early 40s.
Yeah.
he's the most. Him and Tom Holland are like the most grounded. They seem like they don't see. If you watch them in specific things, they are not pretentious at all. Chalamet, because of the Bob Dylan biopic, did a video with Nardwar, who is a Canadian radio host guy who does videos every once in a while, and it was just a treat just to watch Chalamet just sit there and talk to him about music and things like that. And he doesn't come off as pretentious. For me anyway. I don't find it pretentious at all. I just think that he's a very like astute studier of his craft. Like he's definitely an actor's actor kind of character actor, main actor kind of guy. I see him doing more great things in the future as well. Because for this Bob Dylan biopic, which I haven't seen yet, but I am going to watch whenever it comes to streaming. Yeah,
I do need to watch it.
Because I found out while watching, he did a sit-down interview for 60 Minutes, and they were just, back and forth or whatever, and he said that he wanted to like Daniel Day-Lewis, and what he means by that is he turned off his cell phone for 2 months. He let people know, he's like, you're going to have to come and see me at work. And stayed in his trailer when they weren't shooting and did nothing but played Bob Dylan songs. Also, they did a lot of pre-recorded tracks for that movie, and when they were on set, it just never came out as right because he said it sounded too clean, so he played live. All of the versions in the movie are all him playing live. So it comes off as authentic, so I respect to that. But that's me. That's all I've been doing. Ethan, what you been up to?
Last week I mentioned that there was a competitive Commander tournament up here at the shop. I played in it, and I ultimately came in 4th place.
Nice.
I played
That's
all.
good.
There was 3 rounds. I lost the first round, but I won the second, which allowed me to play in the winners table. And unfortunately, our good friend Sean Broom, he cast a spell called Bribery targeting me and took my Blood Moon. Magus of the Moon. Which turned off every other player because they were all playing like, let me all these shocks, all these utility lands.
Right.
And I'm also not playing red. Completely shut off the Atraxa player. Completely shut off the mono blue player. And then he just kind of like comboed off with like bounce spells and infinite.
What was his commander?
He was playing Urza.
Oh yeah, that's his best one.
But all tipping all the hats to Sean. He got the invitational win, but I came in 4th. So
nice. How many people turned up for that?
There was 12 in total.
Oh, okay.
So we all ultimately decided we're gonna like split the like prize money, and then we were just gonna play for the invitational for the next events.
That feels like such a low turnout, though, for like something that will eventually lead to a goddamn Black Lotus.
Yes, but it's also about like who always playing competitive Commander in the area, as opposed to like competitive like Modern or anything like Standard.
Also, it was on a Saturday. I think if they would have held that on a Friday evening for Friday Night Magic, they might have had a better chance. But then again, there's no telling.
I kind of think that Saturday would have been the better thing because not only do you have Friday Night Magic, but you also have other things like there's some Pokemon players in the mix also.
Well, I will tell you.
But isn't Saturday a big Pokemon day, though, also?
In the afternoon, it can be.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though, Ethan. You haven't been able to come up here on every Friday because of work and things like that. We had like 40 players 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We had a lot of people show up for Commander Night.
So, but of that 40, how many would have played CDH?
More than 12.
More than 12.
Because at least like 8 of the people that were there Saturday were there that Friday.
Okay.
So they would have gotten at least another pod.
Now, another question. Is this under the new parameters from Wizards of the Coast now that Wizards has taken more direct control over that?
Well,
was this under like the tier 5 stuff?
It's CEDH, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It wouldn't matter if they did or
the tier system is more for
casual play.
I'm coming over here and I
it's
don't
for
know
everything underneath the 5.
I don't. It's kind of, but it's like it's. I don't know who the people are that I'm playing with, so
it's a way to describe your playstyle for unfamiliar.
It's a talking point to explain exactly how casual your deck is.
Yeah.
Okay.
more so than not.
Whenever you get to like the
I think
the
we spoke
competitive
about. I
aspect-
apologize.
No, it's
'cause-
okay.
No, you're
'cause
good.
we spoke about this last week.
We
and I
might
think you said the
have.
same
I don't
thing.
That's
remember.
okay.
But whenever you get to the I'm playing in a competitive tournament, nobody cares what you're playing. It's all about how fast am I able to win
Right.
while also stopping everyone else
Yeah.
from winning.
Because you have the largest pool of cards that you'd probably have access to. Okay,
Exactly.
I see.
What'd you end up playing?
I played my Winota stacks list.
Mm.
So all of the like the one drop. Oh, you can only draw one card a turn, only cast one spell a turn,
Mhm.
and just getting more dudes off of.
Yeah,
swinging
because when
with
she
them.
attacks, you get to reveal.
No.
Oh,
Whenever-
whenever a non-human attacks that you control, so you like token it out
Yeah.
and just swing a bunch of dudes and get more dudes off the top of your library.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
It-
incremental, really quickly, incrementally
It's-
stupid.
if it goes unchecked, it will snowball into me just having everything from my deck.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a very fun tournament.
Nice.
I
That's
enjoyed
good.
it.
That's good.
And the other thing that I did was me and Bianca, we watched a new movie,
Okay.
The Gorge.
Okay, I've heard of this. Yeah.
Mhm.
It has Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller in it.
Mhm.
It's basically the U.S. and Russia. They both send one person to basically keep watch over this large gorge that's
Mhm.
somewhere in the Eastern Europe.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's described about the gorge is whatever comes out of it, kill it. That is it.
Oh,
They don't
okay.
give any other type of explanation for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only other rule is you cannot communicate with the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert, they communicate with each
Well,
other.
of course.
Mm-hmm.
Bianca enjoyed it for the romance aspect of it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
whereas it also has like action.
Yeah.
in it.
Mhm.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good
Yeah, I've
movie.
seen the trailer for it, and it starts as like a star-crossed lovers type thing, and then at the end they're like, "Hey, there's like monsters or something in the gorge."
Yeah.
Then they gotta fight those, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, shit. Okay.
It's zombies.
Okay.
It's a zombie movie.
Okay.
I think of the zombie movies, I don't mind it as much.
Mhm.
I'm not a big fan of like the zombie trope, but I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I there's so many. I'll just say right there, you just ruined the entire movie for me. I was actually interested until you said that right there. I'm like real talk. Like, oh man,
Mm.
I was so
I mean,
like
that's fine.
I was hoping like Eldritch. Like I was hoping like
No.
the fucking. I hope they were fighting the pig king from fucking Princess Mononoke, like some shit like that.
How soon into the movie is that reveal?
It's a 2-hour movie. I'd
Mhm.
say it's about at the 40-minute mark.
So it turns into like an action movie pretty quick.
Mm.
Like the trailer is like 80% them like falling in love,
Right.
And then at the very end, they're like,
Yeah.
And Miles Teller
Yeah.
Teller panicking.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to agree with Jay that I'm also less interested now that I know what it is.
I was kind of interested in it just to be curious of what the actual.
Well,
thing
I like
was,
both.
but,
I like Teller and Anya
yeah.
Taylor Joy.
They both did a really good job.
Yeah,
they're
they
good
both did
actors.
really, really well.
I'll look forward to watching Mickey 17 and spoiling it for you
Oh,
directly.
Jesus Christ!
Not
I want
you.
to watch that movie.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that comes out on the 7th.
It's coming out soon. I can't wait. I'm actually
March
excited
7th sounds
for.
right.
I don't get excited for theatrical movies.
Yeah, it's Bong Joon-ho. Like, I'm
Yeah.
super fucking excited.
So you can stream. It's not How Does It Feel? God damn it! What's the actual name of fucking Chalamet's biopic pick? It's not How Does It Feel?
No, it's
Complete
not.
Unknown?
Complete
Complete
unknown.
Unknown.
A complete unknown. You can stream that right now. You can own it for $30.
$30.
Yeah.
On Amazon, or
Yeah.
you can rent it for $50. What the fuck? I
That's-
know it's convenient to not have a disc.
That's
but-
the normal price when
For
stuff
a
comes
new,
out in
new,
theaters.
yeah.
Like all the stuff
Like
that's in
brand
theaters,
new
you can
this year.
Yeah, like basically at like the week after it comes out, they put it on streaming and it's like $30.
That was like, remember what was the
$15.99 to rent.
what was the debacle? I think it was the live action Mulan movie.
Well, that was on Disney.
That's
Plus.
what I'm
That
saying.
was like the first time
They
thing that
wanted
they were
to.
like,
They were like, let's spend $30 for
Yeah.
this movie. You can own it on Disney Plus, and
Well,
people were like,
yeah.
no.
There's
you notice
also
they stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Well, that also in part Disney was trying to work because we're
During
talking
COVID
we're
pan-
talking
yeah.
height of the
Yeah.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was when, like, okay, the theaters aren't getting, legitimately, streaming is killing theaters.
Right.
And if Warner Brothers, to me, at the time, I thought it was a great move. Put your stuff that's going to be in theaters, put it on streaming, because we don't know when we're going to be able to fully go in theaters anymore.
Right.
Looking at it now, it's like, oh shit, you've just like pissed off every theater owner and thing. And while it might be a dying form, it's still a valuable revenue stream.
Of course.
And Warner Brothers is having an issue with that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think if they would have, instead of like doing it for a month, because that's what they started, like, it's like, we're going to have this movie streaming for a month on Max. They should have done it for like a week or something. And it should have been like opening weekend either. It should have been like a week or two after.
Yeah.
But then again, COVID, all the theaters were shut down anyway. So people couldn't see it. So I guess it would have been all right. But like 1 week or 2 weeks or whatever. But I mean, in hindsight, nobody knew how long the pandemic was going to keep shit closed anyway.
What did y'all watch the movie on? What?
So we watched it on Amazon, but you have to have an Apple TV subscription to watch
No
it on
thanks.
Amazon.
Pass on that.
That was because you and I had talked about this
Yeah,
at work,
like-
and like the fact
Very briefly. but
Apple
yes.
TV, I like the notion of Apple TV, and there's stuff on Apple TV I would like to
Sure.
watch,
Like Ted
but
Lasso,
it's not enough.
Ted Lasso is a show I really want to watch, but I just don't have
Yeah,
Apple
there's
TV.
several things on there that seem very good. It's just I don't want to get another streaming service.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like just recently, like I'd gotten 3 months of Spotify free. I don't listen to it enough.
Yeah.
Like I listen to, and when I do listen to it, it's on the home computer,
Right.
which will have ads, but I can play in order. It doesn't shuffle everything around.
Sure.
And so like I wasn't using it enough, so
Yeah.
I canceled it. It sucks. I kind of would like a service like that. Amazon, I think, is charging too much for like
They
on
are.
top of
Yeah.
their Amazon, like Amazon Prime.
Right.
You pay an additional like $11 on top of that, which is
Mhm.
near Spotify's price.
Right.
And to me, no.
No.
Yeah, like and for me musically, I listen to albums, which I know is like becoming the most archaic form of fucking
Yeah.
listening to music.
Sure.
But I will buy an album, which I can still do through Amazon. I can still buy the album, listen to it. That's how I
Right.
got Hurry Up Tomorrow. I got it
Yeah.
as an MP3 album as far as that goes.
Yeah.
I want to get GNX because like the Super Bowl reignited my fucking Kendrick Lamar knows exactly what the fuck he's doing.
Right.
So yeah, and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't necessarily turn on the radio to listen to it unless I'm in the car. And then when I'm in the car, I've got terrestrial radio.
Right.
There's an ad there. I'm literally just using that for background noise so I
Right.
don't go crazy
Yeah, of course.
with no sound in a car. But yeah, I mean, if a streaming service doesn't have enough, like Netflix, I can say this reasonably. The only reason I have Netflix is the WWE.
Sure.
The only reason I've held on to the Peacock is because of the WWE, because I'm much of a wrestling
Yeah,
fan.
the only reason I have Peacock right now is WWE, but I will say that Peacock does have a decent selection of movies, and also I'm a fan of them and Max having the ad versions of their streaming service where they show like a block of 3 or 4 minutes and then no more ads for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I like that a lot
'Cause
more.
We watched The
The,
Fifth Element last week, and I watched
Yeah.
it on Peacock, and it's like, yeah, you have about 3 minutes of ads
And
and
no
then the
more.
whole movie.
Yep.
Twisted Metal season 2 is supposed to be coming out pretty
Okay,
soon.
see, that's another thing I can watch. I need to watch both seasons of that.
Yeah. The first season is really good. It's just not Twisted Metal, but the
Mhm.
new season is supposed to be Twisted
It's going to be
Metal.
more Twisted Metal.
It's kind of like how the newest Mortal Kombat movie is literally everything up until the tournament,
Yeah.
and then you have the tournament. I think it's the same thing with the Twisted.
Well, that's how
Metal
they did
series.
with the Preacher TV show. Like the first season of Preacher is basically before the
Book
the-
one.
the comic of Preacher.
Yeah, it's like setting
happened.
up to get to the
Yeah.
meat of it. That's you, Ethan.
That's me.
What about you, Jay?
So not a whole lot this week, but I do want to talk about Marvel Rivals. We're in season 1.5, which means the Human Torch and the Thing have dropped. The Thing is one of the most fun vanguards I've played in the game. He's literally just like getting in someone's face and punching them over and over again. It's great. I've seen some team ups with him and the Hulk where they're literally just like going around and just punching people into dust. And so from a casual standpoint, it looks really fun. There's some tweaks you can do with the character in the settings. He has a charge move that you hit, if you're on PC, you hit left shift, and he just starts running at a high rate of speed. You can't even turn him with the mouse. You have to use the strafe keys in order to make him turn. And then whenever you end the run, because you can end it prematurely, or it runs out of time on it, he does this big like concrete slam, and everybody gets like earthbound, which means they can't really move from where they are, and it's pretty cool. He has his ultimate is called Clobber in Time, where he just smashes up a whole bunch of stuff in front of him. Everybody who gets hit gets stunned.
Oh, a CM Punk reference. I get it.
Yes, it's very great. Yeah, it's very good. It's like no, because when you're on the other side of it, it goes, it's Clobber in Time. I'm like, down. Look in my eyes, what do you see?
I can't tell you how much I actually fucking hate that song.
Is it because of CM Punk or just okay?
I didn't like it.
Oh wow!
Back in the day, but it was just overexposure. And just overexposure. It was just all the time. It was in heavy rotation on MTV. It was just like,
okay,
God damn it! I don't want to listen to this fucking song again.
See, I never got that. So
I've never,
I love that song.
Yeah, I've never hated the song, and I will say, let me give this for Phil Brooks.
Yeah,
when he came back, they're not using the original recording.
Right.
They're using the recording that in Living Color just did recently.
Right.
And so they're getting all of the proceeds from that.
Well, that's good.
I appreciate
that's
that.
Good,
I can at least appreciate that. We'll call out what we like there.
I also hate the Jane's Addiction song, "Been Caught Stealing."
I just fucking hate Jane's Addiction.
I'm not a big fan of.
I knew that before you even said it, because when he started mentioning it, just literally I saw the dower.
I'm not a big fan of them. However, I will say Pharrell did invent Lollapalooza because his band couldn't get booked, but at least we got something out of that.
Perry Farrell, and not the artist Pharrell who did Happy, right? So
Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction and Porno for Pyros. There's a name you probably haven't heard in a long time.
I haven't heard, but I remembered it immediately.
Yeah. We'll make great pets.
So
but Marvel Rebels.
So that's my review of the thing. The Human Torch, I have not played yet. I'm not a big fan of the flyers in the game, which there's 3 of them. Iron Man, Storm, and Human Torch. Even with the release of Human Torch, I think Storm is still the best flyer. She was at one point the worst character in the game, and she got some amazing upgrades for Season 1. Iron Man is take or leave with me. It's really the pilot who's behind that one that determines whether or not that's really done good. Johnny Storm's cool because he has some area denial with his stuff. Like, he drops fire down, and then if it creates like a shape, he has an ability that basically creates this fire cage, and anybody inside of that, it just takes constant damage, which I think is pretty cool for area denial. I think it's one of the first like in your face area denials that I've seen in the game. So I'm very interested in how that plays out. But it's not, he's up flying, and I'll tell you right now, if you want to get shot, fly just 2 feet. Everyone will start shooting you. It's amazing.
Spider-Man like anti-air? I mean, he can get up there, right?
Spider-Man can get up there. Iron Fist can get up there. Which it's weird to watch.
I've seen
someone,
that.
Absolutely,
he's literally doing knee lifts, and every time he does, he just gets higher in the air, and it's fun and cool, but it's also weird.
Yeah,
there's
Spider-Man is backline harass dive, so you want him to go against healers. And you want him to go against any kind of low HP duelists because he gets in, he does his hit combo, and then he bows out. Him, in a very similar vein, Black Panther is the same way, and they're very good. If you know, they're very timing based, and by what I mean is, you need to know how much time you've got to kind of go in there, do stuff, and then get the fuck out.
Right.
Strangely enough, the counter champion, the hardest counter champion to that to me is Namor, because he has the ability to summon squids that auto hit people that come in. So with Black Panther, very agile, hard to hit. Spider-Man, extremely hard to hit. Things like that where you've got to try to aim, it becomes very hard because it's a smaller hitbox and they're moving so fucking fast. Magic in a lot of ways can play that way as well, because she has her discs, which allow her to basically bypass the front line and get into the back line and kind of do some work there. But I think also she can hold toe-to-toe with a few things more because of her ability to duck and dodge and just the sheer damage output she can put out there. But when you have Namor in the back line or helping the back line, he just has things that are auto hitting them. So, I'm coming in, and then as I'm coming in, I'm already taking damage. And then if just anybody gets a little bit of damage on me, that I either have to bug out faster or I'm dead.
Right.
So, and it's kind of a similar way to me with Johnny in this, that what you make up for in damage output, he's got tremendous damage output. He is also a sitting fucking duck for anybody that can just look up and go that. Now, sometimes the comp doesn't allow you to do that.
Right.
In which case, he can have a field day. Same with Iron Man. Storm, even even with a comp that might be shooting at her, I think her mobility, because she has one of two forms as far as her mobility. She either can increase hers and the mobility of everybody around her, or she can increase the damage of everybody around her. Basically, are you empowered by the wind or are you empowered by the lightning? Which I think is a really cool mechanic. But it makes her harder to hit. And as a flyer, I think that's one of the reasons why she not just the only, but one of the reasons why she's a cut above the other flyers in the game. You're going to get targeted if just someone looks up. If they're playing Hela, Hawkeye, I could see also an aggressive Namor, because again, he throws the squids out there and you're the only one out, so you start getting pinged as well. I think you're gonna if you don't know how to handle with that, you're gonna have a hard time with it.
With infinite possibilities with champions, how many champions do you think they're gonna eventually like?
So this first season was 4,
right?
Which it was special because I think it was the Fantastic
Four. Because also the movie's coming out this year too.
And initially, because Blade's model was leaked, like
right.
his full on model for the game was leaked, along with like some play stills of what it would look like in there. And everyone thought, okay, Dracula's the main bad guy, Blade's going to be the first. And then all of a sudden, it's like, no, the whole Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I think it's between 3 and 5 champions a year, which compared to Overwatch, they do about 2 champions a year right now is what their clip is. I think it's a solid clip to do 3 to 5.
Right.
They have so much that they can pull from that. They don't have to create the character. The character's already created. They just have to fit a skill. They have to fit a skill set to get around what you would like. Rocket Raccoon is a healer. Effectively, the name is called strategist, which normally would be support. I think one of the reasons why they do that is you have a few strategists that can drop some serious damage on people. Adam Warlock, Mantis, Rocket Raccoon is another one. Rocket Raccoon also, I like Raccoon and Mantis because they empower not just healing, but they also empower the damage that everybody else is doing. Mantis, I think more so because she can do it regularly, whereas Rocket's, it comes from an ultimate, which he can build up pretty consistently now after his buffs from season 0 to season 1.
Right.
But with Mantis, you just have that ability, and she can empower herself as well to hit harder, and so that's pretty fun too. With Mantis, though, you have to have at least one other support, and that is going to be your primary healer, because her healing is damage over time, and it's okay, but she's, to me, not there to heal. That she heals is a benefit,
right? And
her ult allows for increased speed and healing. And she also, unlike Luna, is able to attack.
Right.
So she's able to be a part of the attack as well. But she's not there to be your healer.
Brady, you look like you wanted to say something.
Oh, I'd watched a video where somebody was talking. They had tangentially talked about Marvel Rivals. An interesting thing that I didn't know, because I haven't played the game, and I'm probably not going to play the game, is that a lot of the characters, since they're doing like a multiverse thing, they're not like the well-known versions of that character.
Right, of course.
Like Psylocke is neither Betsy Braddock nor Quanon.
Right.
She's a third one that like a very lesser known version of Psylocke, who
Captain
is
America is Captain America 2099. He was de-thawed in 2099.
I was wondering.
Iron Fist isn't Danny Rand.
Right.
So I think that's a very interesting thing to do.
I like that take. I also would make the assumption that since they're only slowly trickling these characters out, like they should, because people have to adjust things, their balancing has to happen, of course, as well. It leads me to believe that, the fact that they're releasing the Fantastic Four now and that the movie's coming out very soon is that going to be what's happening from now on? Are they going to be have next year, whenever they roll out new characters for the next season, or maybe the end of this year, however they do it, is it going to correlate with whatever Marvel thing is about to happen or happening?
I know the thing about that is that, just going by most other things that are like Marvel, they sometimes will align, but they don't perfectly align. Because they do anything, be it this game, be it Marvel Champions, the card game, Marvel Crisis Protocol, anything like that. They're doing research and testing these characters so far in advance,
right?
It's hard to
that it's sort of
sometimes it lines up,
right?
But they don't normally just go by get most of the games and stuff that besides I don't know much about Marvel Rivals, but like other games, they're like, we literally can't do this because we're like playtesting these things and developing these things so far in advance that we can't perfectly line up with how Marvel does. And from what I can tell, Marvel doesn't tell them you have to have this thing out. You have to have this thing out by this time.
They also might, I don't know how the programming of the game works, but they might also be like, let's just say like, okay, we don't know if we're going to get, let's just say we're like, Venom. We don't know if we're going to get Venom, even if he's in the game. This is just a hypothetical.
Go with Carnage because Venom's in the game.
Okay. All right. So let's just say we're going to get Carnage. But we don't have the rights to it yet. But we have an idea that we're probably going to have Carnage later. Well, they can play test that by using like, some of the mechanics from Venom and maybe some other mechanics and play around with that and have it like ready just to drop in if there's a third Venom movie coming out or a third Carnage movie or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just hypothetical. I like thinking about stuff like that.
For someone deep in the game, let me say this. So for Captain America Brave New World, you have a spray. That's the only thing they did. And it's basically the spray of the movie poster just done in game with the Red Hulk with his hands over the shield. There is no Red Hulk skin that I'm aware of, which to me that just recolor Hulk red.
Sure.
You could just do that.
Yeah.
Give him a mustache.
They did some Marvel Cinematic Universe specific skins, like you have Thor from Blood and Thunder.
Love and Thunder.
Jesus Christ. You have most of the Guardians like Mantis, Star-Lord, Adam Warlock. They all have ones that look like the people from there. But and they just recently released the MCU Captain America from Infinity War, which honestly, that's one of my favorite skins that they've done. Like with the Wakandan shields and his abilities are still the same. They added some Wakandan like sound effects to some I can't even remember the instrument. But they've added some African instruments to like some of the stuff.
Sure.
And I think they did a really
that's neat.
They're very. Cool. I'm a big stickler for small details.
Sure.
And they get them right, and I think I think they're hitting it out of the park. Just don't fire your team that made your game.
Well, that's not cool. On the Guardian side of things, there's what, 3?
So you have Mantis, Star-Lord, and you have Rocket. 4. So you have Rocket Raccoon and Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
You don't have Drax. You don't have Gamora. You don't have Nebula.
What about Star-Lord? Did we mention Star-Lord?
Yeah, I just mentioned Star-Lord.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, no, Star-Lord's in there. Star-Lord plays, if you have any history with Overwatch, Star-Lord plays like a Tracer if you take away Tracer's teleporting ability with flight.
Gotcha.
Still has the same amount of speed, has some like tricks to get out of stuff, but basically it's 2 machine guns and you're hitting people as fast as you can and getting out.
That's you, Jay?
That is me, brother.
Brady, what you been up to?
All right. So I had watched the first season of a sequel series from a show that I hadn't got to watch this version because I don't have Netflix, but the Blu-rays of all the episodes were on sale on Amazon, so I picked up what I could. I missed out on the 3rd season of the first one, but this is Castlevania Nocturne. It was really good. It takes place like 200 years later. It's like the 300 years, I think. It's in the 1780s during the French Revolution. It follows Richter Belmont, who in this one was sent to France. His mom, who was Julia Belmont, I believe, gets killed by a vampire. So and they're dealing with like stuff with like the French Revolution, but there's also like basically all the aristocrats are like vampires. And there's this vampire messiah that they keep talking about. I liked it. The overarching villain was a little undercooked. I feel like she was barely there. She didn't show up until like the very end.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like, you don't really understand like how she gets his power. Like, she starts out as just like a powerful vampire, but then she gets like untouchable by the end of the series, and you don't really understand like how she was able to do. Like, they don't clearly people just keep calling her the Vampire Messiah, and they don't really they never explain like why she's the Vampire Messiah, why she has these powers that not even fucking Dracula had. But it's a good show. I like the characters. Richter is an interesting character. There's some little, if you know Castlevania, there's some characters that show up that you're like, oh shit, okay, that's cool. I'm interested in the second season, so I'll probably I'm not gonna get Netflix, so I'll probably end up getting the Blu-ray when that comes out.
Right.
But it's pretty good. I was able to get the first and second season of the original Castlevania, and then the fourth season. The third season, for some reason, like sold out really quickly. I don't know why. And now it's back up to like regular price. So if that ever goes on sale, I'll get it again. But
third season, I think, was the one after they killed Dracula.
Yes, yeah,
and so that was some high quality episodes right there.
Yeah,
good stuff.
The entire thing was the entire first series of Castlevania was very, very good. The first season was like only 4 episodes.
4 episodes, yeah.
And you can really feel the Warren Ellis writing in there. But they kind of toned that back. In the later seasons, the second season is probably still my favorite, because that's when you get all the like vampire intrigue. You the amount of characters in it like grows a lot. You get some interesting characters. You get one of the best fight scenes in the whole fucking show.
Set to the best song in the Castlevania catalog, "Bloody Tears," which is just amazing. Which I think was a symphonic version.
You're thinking when they assault the castle, right? Yeah. Jesus Christ, that's such a good. But yeah, that whole that Castlevania, this series is probably like, I'm gonna go on a limb and say that's the best. It's the best video game adaptation of anything ever.
It's pretty good.
I can't really think of anything that there's some things that come pretty close, but like I can't think of anything that does it better than that. Like the first series follows Trevor Belmont and Sypha Belnades, with Alucard thrown in there. Alucard shows up at the end of Nocturne, spoilers, so he's going to be a part of it,
right?
Which is basically what he did in the first in the first season. He shows up in the very last episode, and they go, "Well, we're going to kill Dracula," and he shows up, and well, now we're going to kill this person,
right?
But Castlevania. If you like the games, like I think it's a good representation of them. Like
it's definitely a good representation of like the later games.
Yeah.
Like it's got that whole Symphony of the Night kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Looking forward to eventually watching the second season of Nocturne. I hope that it kind of smooths over some of the issues that I had, but overall it's a good series. I liked all the characters are really good. That's the thing about that one. And then the last thing I want to talk about was today we actually started a campaign. We're finally doing some RPGing, and we started Mausritter. Jay and Jody were playing in it, and then I'm running it. We're going to be doing the estate campaign box, kind of like a hex crawl box. I think it started pretty well. We really didn't need nobody rolled anything. Like it was all role playing.
Setting up to the
first season. I gave them a whole bunch of hooks, and I'll see what hook they take and bite on, and what adventure we're going to go on. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I play an old prison guard. I have a button where my left eye was. My name is Buttons.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I really love the way the campaign area. It's really like an adventure. It's like an adventure sandbox. Really, is what more of it is than a campaign. It's really like hey, give them these hooks. Here's the adventures. Here's where it's all laid out. Go to these places and deal with these things, and they all have some interconnection. Like you'll find an item in this place that has to do with this place and things like that.
I'm also like really enjoying this wave of like stripped down RPGs where you can just like throw some information on a card and just get to the game.
Yeah. That like a couple of weeks ago we made characters
5 minutes.
and it was like 5 minutes to make characters. It was roll on a few tables, and here you go and work with what you got. It's less about. It's more about like a lot of these games, and these are called what are called OSR, old school revival games, where they're kind of stripping things back and making things simpler and then more deadly, like an older D&D, like an older version of D&D. Mausritter comes from a system that was with Karn, which it got its system from a game called Into the Odd. So yeah, this is. I really like this where the idea of character creation is more about like roll on these tables and see what you get and then like discover the character from there instead of okay, I have to come up with a character, I have to come up with what I want to be, taking a little bit of choice away from you so that you can more get into the thing. Like it literally says in the book, characters are going to die. When characters die, roll up a new character. The GM shouldn't even really too much worry about like putting like figuring out how to introduce them. It's better to get them in quickly than it is to take your time and figure out how to get them into the story.
Well, that's a problem with some of the some of the more complicated and complex like crunchier gaming systems.
Yeah,
is you can become overwhelmed by your infinite choices of what you can do, and I like that. Stripped down games, you just, like I said, you just get into it. And I mean, like, as far as like game systems go, I think like the base game of the original like Vampire the Masquerade is a very stripped down game because you're just like, if you know if you know enough about what's going, it's not overly complicated.
Stripped down definitely for the time because like late 80s into early 2000s, you have AD&D, and even at the end where you have D&D third ed, there's still a lot of tick boxes that you have to fill
out. Original Cyberpunk's very crunchy.
Yeah.
New Cyberpunk is crunchy.
It's still crunchy, yeah. Which I don't mind.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's where setting, honestly, kind of really takes that over the top. I prefer Cyberpunk to Shadowrun. Shadowrun also stayed very, very complex. Well, I'm going to use the word complex.
Complex.
And it's a nice setting. I think it tries to do too much. Let's do like Cyberpunk, but then also the fantasy aspect. Let's have like the biggest corporation in the world is run by a red dragon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
A German red dragon. Say the crook. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I'm really enjoying this new like version because it's very quick to like understand the system, so it's easier to run. I think Mausritter is actually one of the more complex of this like subsection of like came from Cairn. Cairn is very stripped down, and this one adds some stuff to it. Like in Cairn and in like Liminal Horror, you don't even like. There's no like levels in this, and in Mausritter, you can gain levels. You don't get a whole lot, like you don't get new like abilities or anything like that, but you get some stuff.
Yeah.
When you level up, and there's only like once you get to 5th level, like you really just it's the same amount. Like it doesn't gain from anything there. Once you get to 5th level, it's the same amount over and over.
Right.
So you get the same thing. You don't get more.
It's meant not to be played for super long, I'm sure.
Well, the good thing about the estate is that it can be played for a very long time.
Really?
There's a bunch of adventures.
Yeah.
And it's all about like how quick if you get through the adventures, or there's a system in the game where you have these factions that are that are trying to get things done, and there's a system to advance those, and it's like, well, one of the other ways to finish the campaign is if one of the factions completes all of their goals and completely changes the way the estate works now.
Right.
And there's a third way that I can't remember. Like they give you a lot of good information in both the base book for Mausritter and in the main book that I really, really enjoy. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm interested to see what hooks y'all end up biting on and what we do first.
Yeah.
I've given y'all a whole bunch of stuff. Some of it I've given as little tiny breadcrumbs. I might have given too much, to be like quite honest, but I can always go back to it and remind you.
Yeah.
But I've given some as like little bitty breadcrumbs of like hints of things in the future, and then I've given like straight up signpost. This is a plot hook.
Yeah.
This is a plot hook.
Right.
So
just dangling in front of their face.
Oh yeah. I've dangled. I told them they're really interested in the Frogical race, which is a boat race where at the end you get a wish from the Frogical.
Why wouldn't they be interested?
Exactly.
I knew as soon as I said the words that they were going. I was tempted to like hold off on this because you have to get enough money to buy a boat, which is not cheap.
Yeah.
Well, now they're going to set forth on getting a boat.
Yeah. They were already like, we're getting a boat. How do we get a boat?
We were talking to somebody, and I was like, hey, listen, I think you've got something that needs to be done because we need a boat so we can win this race. And the character even mentioned the Frogical. I'm like, yes, McGonagall. I need to get money so we can buy a boat.
It's called the Frogical because it's a frog oracle.
Oh.
I love it.
I'm an English major, so I didn't have to be told that.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed being told what it was.
The bad thing is if you come at the end, you get the Frogical's curse, which is bad.
I hope we get that just for
You either get the
just
wish
for
or
the
you get
funsies.
the curse.
Either way, I'm entertained.
That's a fun. Like it's all just a series of adventures that are set out on like a hex crawl map, and that one's is totally different because it actually gives you. It changes. It gives you some rules for like basically doing a race.
Yeah.
Because it is literally like you have a boat and then you have all these other people at the boat race and you're going to race and every section you deal with stuff and everything like that. So
right.
That one's gonna be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got some other plot hooks for them that are going to be interesting.
Nice.
Like all of the. They did a really like every single one of the adventures were written by a different person and also drawn by them. So like they all have like wildly different art styles and they look really cool. I'm really excited about this. Like the way they've done that, the way that adventure like the main box for Mausritter is really cool, but that estate box is like so fucking cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And like every single one of them comes with an extra because everything with Mausritter is your inventory matters a lot.
Yeah.
Like they literally have little squares of cardboard. They're like, this is a knife, so it goes into your main paw. You know, these things go in your pack. You can get over encumbered and things like that. So if you take like conditions, they go into your inventory too. And all of the adventures have their own little like punch out sheet of like here's the things that you can get in this, you know. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm hoping that doing this like every other week instead of like every week makes it easier to where we can actually like, I don't know, like again, like this thing can take a very long time, and it all depends on like how long everybody takes on an adventure.
Sure.
And with this crew, it's going to be a while.
Yep.
Yep. But
There's
I'm hoping we at least get a decent ways and get at least a few of these done.
Yeah.
Because we can. This is kind of one that there's no like end point.
Yeah.
That you're working.
That's
towards. Good. It's just here's a series. Here's an area for you to explore.
Right.
And here's some adventures for you to have. And I like that some of the characters have actually like some people's characters have brought up things that are going to be very interesting later that I can connect with with some of these adventures, and it's just about like throwing out the hooks at the right time. But I think I've given everybody like plenty. I think I've given the group like plenty of stuff to start on. So that's
awesome. There was one more thing I forgot to mention in my ramblings on mine. My buddy Phil Overby. He's a writer. He's published some stories. He's actually down from Japan the next couple of weeks. So
nice.
Yep. Pretty cool dude. Known him for like 20 years. He's got a book out now. It's on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, you can read it for free through Kindle. If you'd like to purchase it physically, it is available for $10. It is from his Splatter Elf series. And it's called...
Is that also available through Amazon or through the physical copies through Amazon as well?
New Sword Smell is the name of the book. And it's a collection of his splatter elf stories, which is a term he coined. It's basically like grim dark, but it's not as grim. It's more just graphic and violent.
Okay.
If you find that funny of a knight lobbing the head off of a goblin, but like slipping on the guts for 20 minutes, trying to like not die, that kind of shit, like the A24 unicorn movie, except in fantasy, where, unicorns will actually gore you and literally gore will come out of you, that kind of thing. I don't know if you found it already, if you're looking at it.
I found it.
My copy will be delivered to me tomorrow. He showed me his demo copy, and I was like, dude, I didn't even know it was out, so I went ahead and bought it. So support writers and buy their books, because he gets a whopping 25 cents for every physical copy sold. So he's not quitting the teaching job anytime soon, but he just wanted to get his work out there. And so I just thought I'd throw that out there. New Sword Smell, a series of splatter elf stories by Philip Overby. So there you go. Any feedback, Jay?
No feedback this week, but ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to leave feedback on this or any of our past episodes, travelersontheomnibus at gmail.com. Again, that is travelers, 1L, on the omnibus at gmail.com. Jody Kite, what other ways can they contact us?
Spotify.
Yes, take part of any of our episode polls for any of our past episodes that are still open, or the present one that you were just listening to. Also, leave us messages on any of our episodes, which I believe totals 136 as of this one going up. So we
nice.
3 years and 2 months we've been doing a pretty good clip, ladies and gentlemen. So with that being said, thank you for being passengers on the bus this week. If you're liking what you're hearing and you would like to continue to listen to this, or if you'd like to share this with anyone who listens to podcasts but they don't listen to podcasts on the channels that you listen to them on, we're available on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube Music through our YouTube channel, Travelers on the Omnibus, and iHeartRadio.
Well, that being said, it's time to HOTTOGO to our next topic.
Hotog.
Tonight's, today's, this evening, depending on when you listen to this.
Time is relative.
Time is relative and has no meaning.
What is time?
Exactly. We are discussing a playlist you would listen to while driving at night. The night driving playlist.
Yeah, the night riding play. If it was night rider playlist, that would be copyright infringement. But
which surprisingly, this is a question that gets asked a lot online. I know that because part of just checking with like making sure I'm not missing anything. Like I just looked up that night driving music, and like tons of people ask like, what's the song that you would like to listen to while driving at night? So like this is a very discussed thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we're all gonna have like 4 picks of our personal list. But before we go into that, we're gonna put each of us are gonna have an auto include that doesn't get removed or whatever.
Yeah.
This is not a chalkboard.
Afterwards,
this is not a chalkboard. Just want to let the audience know.
Yeah, so this is the second in our playlist series where we create a playlist of songs for you to listen to while you're doing the activity listed in the playlist title.
And if this isn't exactly the format that we did in the last one, blame Ethan because we're going off of his memory. He is very confident about this.
I will take the blame on this.
So if we're wrong, it's his fault.
If I'm not wrong, y'all will still blame me.
We still use him as an ombudsman, so he is actually the omnibus budsman.
The omnibudsman.
The omnibudsman.
Which is fair. The great thing about being friends with Ethan is his memory is just as sound as ours.
Yeah, like a
steel
trap.
Somehow.
Like a steel trap.
Yes, he's dancing right now in case you can't see it, which is everyone else in the world.
He's dancing by himself. Since
is Dancing with Myself from Billy Idol in there? Okay, just checking.
Nice. All right, so we're gonna start for our auto includes with Ethan. What's your auto include?
Okay, before I give my auto include, the way I made my list is a combination of 2 things:
Wrong.
Night and driving.
Yes.
There we go. No. Half of the list is going to be like like chill, mellow beats. That's like very, very soothing, very deep bass in it. And the other half is going to be
Andrew WK.
No.
The entire party album.
Yeah.
All,
I get wet.
all three of them.
But it is songs that like
I Get
give
Wet
me-
is the album that you're thinking of.
The other half is going to be songs that like get me hyped up, like when I'm going to work or when I'm going to an event. Things that like I can like easily jam to. Just crank the radio up. So this is my auto include.
We should preface that you normally work at night.
Yes.
So
So
that would
this entire
otherwise
list-
that would be really weird to have like. But I work in the daytime. But I wanted to include this anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. So this entire list is going to be relevant to me. So
Well, it should.
I hope so.
So my auto include, and Jay made the reference that the weekend is just too good. Okay. The weekend is just
Time out.
too good.
Censored.
Otherwise, that would have been really funny. The fans have no context for what that
I'll throw the censored in just in
is.
case.
Sweet.
So yes, as Jay mentioned before we even thought about this list, the weekend is just too good.
The weekend
Okay.
is pretty good.
Not all of us cannot just submit 5 weekend songs. And
Sure,
then
we
just-
can.
Sure we
could,
We
but
we might have, sir.
But I did what Jay advised that he was going to do, and I only limited myself to only one weekend song. Okay, and that song is going to be "Pray for Me." That also features Kendrick Lamar.
So that is your auto include.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Okay, got that. That's pretty
Exciting.
good.
All
Yes.
right. Writing things down.
Yes.
Jay.
All right. So you may have heard of this artist. He's called The Weeknd.
Yeah.
And so I on this show I have described his music as neon night riding music.
Yes.
So but I did have to limit to one, and it is not going to be the obvious one, which is one of my
Obvious
favorite
one.
songs of all, which is Blinding Lights.
Mhm.
This will be The Weeknd, Take My Breath,
Nice.
which has some amazing just instrumental moments where it's just the beat, and it's just fantastic to drive to.
Right.
I also drive at night.
Yeah.
And this is a song that will be coming up on mine. Like I could have almost said the entire first half of Dawn FM,
Yeah.
and just it would have just been on there. But that one
That's
in particular,
Brady, what about you? What's your auto include?
Okay. So I did not choose the weekend. In fact, I don't have any weekend on here because I knew that everybody else was going to probably put some weekend, or at
You're
least
probably not wrong.
But my song, I actually came into contact with from a movie, and that movie is Drive, and this song is Night Call by Kavinsky.
Oh, okay. Cool.
This is a kind of techno, but very slow. It's a slower. It's not like a super hyped techno.
Mhm.
It is
That's the Ryan
definitely-
Gosling movie. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the
Mhm.
Nicholas Winding Refn
Mm-hmm.
joint. Yeah, it is a very like you are. This is one of the and Ethan is right. This is there are basically two kinds of night riding. Is very slow,
Right.
in your feelings night
Mhm,
riding,
mhm,
and there is
mhm.
very hyped trying to get to up to no good driving.
Right.
And this is definitely the first one.
Right.
So yeah, that's mine.
So mine is Blinding Lights by The Weeknd.
We've just got
Three
three
out of
weekend
four
songs.
Yep.
And Brady doesn't realize it, but he subliminally actually has a weekend song on the list, just the way it would be.
Yeah, well, this song I believe came out before The Weeknd was doing his more
Mm-hmm.
the style from what's the fucking After Hours.
Yeah, yeah.
No, this was on the After Hours album.
What?
The Blinding Lights is on the After Hours.
Yeah, I know that.
He's
but
referring
I'm
to
referring to
his
mine.
I
song.
believe he's
Oh,
referring to his
okay.
song.
Yeah. All right. So that's our auto includes, never to be removed. And now we're going to go song by song, person by person. And we will start again with Ethan. So on your list.
So one of the other things that Jay had an idea for was it is still the month of February, so Valentine's Day, and an idea that came after this suggestion was songs about love. And
I believe I had that.
Yeah, Brady had that idea.
Okay, it was Brady. My apologies.
Give me my goddamn whatever the word
Flowers?
is. Yes.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And legitimately, if this had been earlier February, that's probably the tact we would have gone with.
Yes.
Yeah.
So keeping that in mind with another song that I constantly have on play, like just slow driving, mellowing out, is going to be What You Won't Do for Love by Bobby Caldwell.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is, but
I also do not know it.
I'm not.
See, so normally
We might
I
have
write.
to take another break and listen to some of these songs.
Yeah,
so
we might
give them
have
a fair
to.
shot.
We might have to.
But it's also funny if we just cut it because we've never heard it. Either.
No, we're good. I'm not listening to anything.
I could just put censored 3 times in here, and then people are like, "Man, they're going wild and out on this shit."
Yeah.
God damn.
They really hate this dude.
Yeah.
What was the name of the song and the artist again?
What You Won't Do for Love by Bobby Caldwell.
Okay.
I've heard of that name. I just can't not place.
It's like very mellow, like drums, some trumpets, and it's just very mellow out. You like nod your head to. You can sing with it, but it's more so like.
So you say trumpets, and I can think of nothing but ska. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or the song "Trumpets" by can't remember his name. Jason Derulo. Yeah.
Jason Derulo.
Trumpets. That's a good song.
That's the only thing
That's the only thing I remember from.
That's the only Jason Derulo lyric
which I think is sad
remember.
because like he is a popular artist.
Trumpets is a good song.
That is my first submission.
Jay, what's yours?
Okay. This will be either the thing that starts your playlist or ends your playlist. It's Europe's The Final Countdown.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
a good one. I like that
again,
one.
I wanted to go with songs that had like dedicated instrumental portions, which like the guitar solo in that going into the final refrain is holy hell. That'll get you up to 120 miles an hour on the freeway as best you can. But that is me.
Brady.
So this next band, I kind of feel like is a night driving band, and it was actually kind of difficult to. There was an obvious first pick that I thought of, but then the more I thought about it,
Sleep Token?
no.
Damn.
The more I thought about it, the more other things also went well, and that's where I was like, well, this is just a fucking band. And that band is Deftones. I'm gonna go with the obvious pick, which is Passenger.
Yeah.
Which is literally a song about driving at night with the windows down.
Yeah.
It is an unusual song because it is kind of a duet with Maynard from Tool. They go back. There's this back and forth that they do that is very cool. But it definitely gives the idea of driving at night, especially with the windows down on a cool night. Yeah. So that's my pick.
Mine also has a duet in it, and it's actually with so many changes and mood shifts in the song. It can be almost 2 to 3 songs in one song, and that's Paradise by the Dashboard Light by Meatloaf.
That is like 6 songs.
It is like 7-8 minutes long, but
I think it legitimately is a song in 3 parts.
yeah, it's definitely a song in 3 parts. This song often would in my driving at night would come on the radio when that was a thing, when when we didn't all have Bluetooth and Spotify, Pandora, and all that other stuff. It would come on one of the oldie stations, and I would just jam out. I think it's a great night song.
Oh yeah.
A lot of these songs you could listen to at any time, of course, but really, it just feels like a really great night driving song to me, personally. Ethan, what's your second?
My second, you would not believe, but it is also a duet. This is probably going to be one of the most recent songs. Is it was showcased in this year's Super Bowl. It is going to be All the Stars, Kendrick Lamar and SZA.
Okay.
Like again, it's just very very mellow, very nice beats.
Yeah.
And I enjoy SZA. I enjoy listening to her.
I do like her
amazing voice. And just that coupled with Kendrick Lamar and everything that I also enjoy with him is just amazing.
From the Black Panther.
Black
soundtrack.
Panther, yes.
Ooh.
This was the credit song. On that.
Oh, okay. Nice. Jay.
Every time I think of the Black Panther, I think of Chadwick Boseman now, which is
Yep.
which is a good thing.
Yep.
So my song is also a duet.
Oh, okay. Damn.
This is, I think, the mellowest song maybe on my list, depending on if we have to do some change outs. But this is Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, Nothing But a G Thing.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So you put the window down. If it's convertible, you put the top down, and you just roll through the neighborhood and play this, and no one will have any problems with you.
Yeah. Sure.
The people who have problems with you have got problems of their own, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah.
Brady, what about you? What's your number 2?
All right, let's go. This is where it actually gets kind of difficult because I have a big list and I didn't really. There was only a couple of things that I really nailed down. We are going to go with one of my favorite hip hop artists who doesn't really do much make much music anymore. He's actually more of an actor now, and this is "Pursuit of Happiness" by Kid Cudi. This was made. There was a version of this that was kind of like a dubstep remix that was in the movie X. If anybody remembers that, this is the found footage. This is like the found footage, but it's like just a party movie. Project X. Project X. That's what it is. Not just X. I knew it wasn't just that, but yeah, the original version of this is very good. It is kind of. It goes back and forth. It's one of these where you're like, it feels like you're partying, but it's in slow motion. It's very hard to describe. It's a very, very good song. But yeah, that's going to be my second.
I like it.
My second open pick.
My second pick is also sort of in the. It's more of the blending of the genres, shall we say, and it's Clint Eastwood by the Gorillaz. That that keyboard drum beat, just boom, 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 boom. Just a cool groove.
That album, that first Gorillaz album is like basically a night drive album.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree 100%. Ethan, what is your third?
Now, on the opposite spectrum of kind of what we're going with right now, the one song that kind of like gets me a little amped is very much like, oh, you're getting ready to go to a party, go to an event. That is going to be "Time of Our Lives" with Pitbull and Neo.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I get you.
You or Neo?
Neo.
Neo? Okay. Just checking on that one.
This is a song that I don't know because I don't know anything by Pitbull after he stopped being a gangster rapper.
It was during that time period where he was collabing with like Kesha and a bunch of other artists. I believe he did something with Macklemore too, but I could be wrong.
Surprise me.
But yeah, that's a good one. Jay, what about you? What's your third?
So we got really close this year. My next one is Gorillaz, Feel Good Incorporated.
It was between that and Clint Eastwood.
For me on that song, it's more like the change in tempos. And what I like about that is like, if you're on the highway, you can go fast to the rapping parts.
Right.
And if you're slow driving, you can go chill to the smooth parts.
Come to think of it, they are kind of a night drive band.
Yeah.
100%. I dig it. Brady, what's your third?
So I actually had 2 Gorillaz songs on my short list.
Did we clip them out?
No, neither of them.
Jesus Christ.
Neither of them.
We're discovering things.
You forget
here.
that I am a Gorillaz super fan.
Oh, that is true.
Very true.
I wouldn't even call myself that far, but I listen to
You
Gorillaz
do
a
like
lot.
the girls a lot.
I'm going to actually not pick them.
Though if you did, they would be tied with The Weeknd with most songs on the playlist.
Yeah, but also most likely to be cut because there's already 2 others.
Very true.
We gotta be a little smart here.
Yeah, for sure.
So
for sure.
I'm going to do
change it up if you got to.
So I'm gonna go with a Bob Seger song.
Bro.
And
nice.
There are two. There's one that is very obvious. And one that I think
there is the obvious one.
One that is I'm going to go with the less obvious, and I'm going to go Turn the Page.
Nice.
Did I step on somebody?
Let's wait. Let's wait.
Let's
a little
wait.
Bit.
Okay.
Let's wait.
Wait a little bit.
Okay.
Let's wait.
Well, good. Y'all stepped on gorillas for me, so I feel good that I stepped on somebody. That's why I said bring more than just 5.
Oh yeah, no, I've got some in my head too, besides the ones I have written down. So oddly enough, my third pick is also a Bob Seger song.
Are we all gonna do?
Because Night Moves is
That was the
it's
other
right
one.
there. Yeah, Night Moves. I
That
mean,
was the other one.
It's like it was actually when we started talking about doing this episode. That was the first song that popped in my head.
That's a real that's your driving to Lover's Lane song right there on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore that song. I am not like I love specific like 70s rock / easy listening music.
Yeah.
And there's only so many that I can go back to and listen to, and anytime that comes on the radio, I really or on any sort of streaming platform that I'm listening to, if I have a classic channel, I'm not turning it off.
Yeah.
It's like them, Bob Seger and like ELO or any of that. I'm not turning it off. So Ethan, what's your number 4?
To round out my list, this is a song that I never sing to. It is only just incorporating it and integrating in, just purely listening to. And it's not the Mausritter. No. This is going to be Better by Khalid.
Khalid.
Yeah. Khalid. Yes.
DJ Khalid.
No, there's
no.
actually
No.
Oh,
there's a
simply
second.
Khalid.
There's a
There's a
second
second
one.
Oh
There's
my
a second
God.
one. Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah.
Is that why he does that? No.
It took me a little while to figure out that there was a second one.
Wow. That is interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Which one is
Who's that again?
After me, it goes to
No. What was the name of the artist and the song?
Khalid, and the song is Better.
Better. Okay. Jay.
Bob Seger, Hollywood Nights. It's the last one.
Hollywood
it's the
Nights.
triumvirate. It's the fucking. Do you know how fucking scared I was when it got past you and he went night shit? Wait, no, that's okay. It's still in play.
Yeah.
It's still in play.
Yeah. He's another one where a lot of his stuff is really
Night
good
Driving.
There's not a single Silver Bullet album that I have seen where he's not on a car.
Yeah.
Right. For
Just-
sure.
But specifically, this is night driving in San Andreas and GTA 5 because that song is actually from GTA 5, and I would actually get on like the coastal highway and drive that. It's like I want to do this in real life. Too bad there isn't a place like that in the world. California, I know. But yeah, Hollywood Nights by Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. Give them respect as well.
Brady.
All right. Looking at my list, it's a little bit of a downer. So I need something to pick it up. I think I am going to go with Tom Petty, Running Down a Dream.
Oh yeah, that's a great song.
I think he has a couple of good ones. There was a couple that I was thinking of, but I
don't
think
come around here no
Don't
more.
Come Around Here No More.
Yeah.
Last Dance with Mary
You
Jane.
don't know how it feels.
You don't know how it feels.
Yeah.
He's got a
Free
couple.
Falling.
Free Falling's a great night song too. Night Driving
But I
song.
think this is a good one for when you want energy, when you're going to do when you're headed to some thing that you're looking forward to at night, when you're wanting to get into trouble.
So
And I need something to bring my list up because it's
Right.
kind of a downer.
right. I also am going to bring my list up and out of the past. And choose somebody who's probably not going to, remain. I know how it is, especially if the rest of the room hasn't heard much of it. And we're going to go with Chapel Rowan, Red Wine Supernova.
That's a good one.
You've heard that one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's I like some of the lesser known songs by her now, because I've heard Hot to Go so much and I've heard Pink Pony Club so much that I'm delving into her other stuff, and it's got a lot more layers and subtlety to it.
Yeah.
And it's more of a love song than the other stuff that she's been doing. Still in the pop sensibility of the new wave 80s synths that she likes using, but I really dig Red Wine Supernova. So that is our compiled lists that we have going on. There's a lot of different stuff up there. We got a lot of,
but mostly The Weeknd and Bob Seger.
there's a lot of Bob Seger.
A lot of Weekend Live Bob Seger. And,
you got some Gorillaz and some Kendrick Lamar.
We got some Gorillaz. We got some Kendrick.
Would have been
Lamar.
just as much fucking Gorillaz if we if I would have put mine up. But I decided to swerve a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
For the record, my two for Gorillaz was 19-2000.
Yeah, I like that one.
And Dare. Those were my two.
I like the remix version of 19-2000. It's a little bit faster than the
I'll also bring up Stan Bush's Dare. I think that could be that's a you're breaking the law going 90 and a 40 song.
Real quick, some honorable mentions. Anything by the Steve Miller Band. Specifically Space Cowboy was on my short list. That didn't make it. But almost anything that they put out was
my runner-up for Deftones was Be Quiet and Drive.
Jay mentioned GTA, and so one of the things that came to mind was one that from the GTA 5, Lady Hear Me Tonight by Mod Joe.
That's a good one.
Yeah, there's also a lot of 80s what was the car song sung by the keyboardist, Who's Gonna Take You Home Tonight?
Oh yeah.
That
Who's gonna drive you home?
Who's Gonna Drive You Home Tonight? That's a really good one.
Day and Night by Kid Cudi. That's also one that came to mind.
Alive. A lot of stuff off of that Man in the Moon, that first Man in the Moon album is really good for night driving.
Several songs by Pink Floyd would have made the list.
I had my Sleep Token song that was on the short list was Jaws. I don't think that's one that y'all have necessarily heard. That's one that's not actually on an album. That was a single.
If I had to pivot from Final Countdown, my starter song for the playlist would have been Spirit in the Sky by Norman Greenbaum.
Oh, that's a great one. I like that one.
Yeah, but that one would only be the starter. Final Countdown's very versatile in that that could be the last one as you're going in the garage or the first one as you're coming out.
Right, for sure. I do dig that one.
Since you mentioned Chappell Roan, I'm going to mention another. I didn't put her on the list, but I feel like I probably should have. But there were a couple of songs that I think fit this that Olivia Rodrigo does that are.
Oh yeah, American Bitch. And
that's a really good one. There was another.
There's another one by her.
It's not Vampire. It was another one that was off that album.
Yeah,
that album is a really good album.
It is.
I think
it's pretty good stuff.
Good. Bad Idea.
Bad Idea.
Yeah. That's that. I think probably would have went on my short list.
That's a good
one. But for
one.
some reason, I did not think of.
That's
her.
more of an upbeat one too. Both those songs are all three of those songs.
Yeah.
So how are we going?
I guess we get to the bloodletting.
How are we going to do this?
We could just not.
We could just not.
I don't want to cut any, like the things that I would cut I haven't listened to.
Yeah.
And I feel it's unfair to cut that. Like I have not listened to Red Wine Supernova.
Yeah.
But I feel it's unfair to cut that without hearing it.
Sure. Yeah.
So actively thinking, I don't think I've listened to a single Bob Seger song.
Oh.
Wow.
So I can't.
You're really showing your age.
I can't have an opinion on something I have not listened to.
Right. And again, this isn't a chalkboard. We don't necessarily have to cut anything. So, I mean, we could just leave it as is.
And just have a 20-song playlist. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. You know?
I mean, I like having to cut things. I think that it adds a little bit more to the show. But
it does.
I don't even think thinking of what would be of the multiples that we have, what would be the perfect thing, because the person who picked it would just say their thing.
Right, of course. Because I mean there's several songs on there that I haven't heard either.
And solidly, if let's say one person picked just one artist on there, move like all of Bob Seger's songs onto my list, or any other person's list.
Right.
I wouldn't want to cut any of those
Right.
because I think those are all great music to listen to when you're driving at night for a whole bunch of different reasons.
Well, like I said, we've picked like the things that have multiple things are this is either a band or an artist that is just most of their discography is good for driving at night.
Right.
Yeah.
When it comes to The Weeknd, when it comes to Gorillaz, when it comes to Bob Seger, like their aesthetic just fits very well with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why there are multiple of these people on there. And to be honest, like Bob Seger was like a little bit of a swerve.
Yeah.
On my part. He was on my short list, but I don't know if he was like super high on there.
Right.
But yeah. I think one of the things we also did was kind of talk about like what would be like ordering, like how we would like, order all the things. To me,
like with the playlist, when I'm putting a playlist together specifically, the order matters for me because I'm creating my own little mini album.
Right.
And so I kind of want everything to kind of like flow and move in better. So let's start at the top. Let's start. What's the opening song?
Ooh.
We don't hit shuffle. We just play through. What is that first song?
What's the first song we're listening to?
Like there's so many choices on this list.
These,
man, that's difficult.
My gut
that is difficult.
Is either Blinding Lights or Feel Good Inc.
To open it. You start out with like it's like the mid, like it's not downbeat, it's not upbeat, it's in the middle.
Yeah.
You know. I would say, man, that is a good call.
To me, it would either have to be like
I also almost feel like Blinding Lights could be an open or ending.
Yeah.
Like it could go either way, really.
I could see Clint Eastwood being a solid opener to this.
I feel like also like I like when I'm making a long playlist or when I used to, I should say. Clint Eastwood would be one of those songs. It's like hear me out. And like in a wrestling show, you got to have like that like lower. You got to go up high, start high, go back down, go back up. I think Clint Eastwood should be in the middle of the playlist, kind of like to take you down before you go back up.
Clint Eastwood is it's not it's weird because it is a kind of slower. It's a lower energy song. But it is not like a darker song like some of these are, like some of these slower songs are.
It's nothing that's gonna drain you of like any type of like energy or mood or while you're listening.
And you could also I think Feel Good Inc. could be a good starter for sure.
Yeah.
I like that as like the first song.
Okay.
We could do Feel Good Inc. What would be your second choice? That's almost as important. To follow up Feel Good Inc. What follows up Feel Good
Inc.? Depends on if I'm throttled down or if I'm keeping the same speed.
Right.
Like a lot of that is let's attack it from a different angle.
Sure.
What are songs that you would group together? Try to avoid the same artist.
Right.
You don't have to fully avoid it, but try to avoid it.
Right.
I feel like Passenger and Night Call are a good 1-2. Because they're both like in that kind of darker mind space. You would definitely need something after that to kind of bring up.
No, then to me, then you do Turn the Page and like finish it off with a kind of, and then you can start ramping back up again.
Yeah.
If you want to arrange a playlist that way.
Right. I would, and also like for me, like
I think after that, like All of the Stars would be a good.
Oh,
like,
that's a good
starting,
yeah,
right.
like starting that upper
For
'cause
sure.
It's not. It doesn't like jump in how in the energy, but it definitely like you can see you're basically on the uphill
Mhm.
for
You're
on the roller
still
coaster.
on the incline.
I think
Yeah.
like also like talking about like the different energies of all these songs. I think like, Hollywood Nights is also another finisher. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
there's so much energy going on with that one.
Yeah, we've got
Let-
several good finishers.
Let's not forget Final Countdown.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good starter or finisher.
Yeah, that could have gone in. That could have gone in slot 1 or
Yeah.
slot 20. So yeah, like
I think
Yeah.
for me, like also like I think Night Moves is a finisher song as well. That's just
I really want to pair up like if I'm doing this playlist, I want to pair up Clint Eastwood going into Nothing But a G Thing.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
just
flows.
that feels
That
so
flows,
good right
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it.
Yeah.
That flows for sure.
All right.
Mm.
Let's now look at specific artists. The Weeknd, he has 3 songs.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bob Seger, he has 3 songs.
Yeah.
Moving on. No.
yeah.
So like The Weeknd, would you clump his stuff together, or would you spread it, or would you do it like a sprinkling and like keep them as far apart as you possibly could?
I think you sprinkled them because it's the ones that are submitted are all of the Weeknd songs. They're very, very good, very similar.
Yeah.
I think having them spread out, you're not being like
Is Pray for Me the one that like is it, I would love you? Like is it that song? Like I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember Pray for Me.
It was also on the Black Panther.
I know it was on the
album.
Black Panther soundtrack.
He's trying to remember how
I'm trying
it
to remember how
goes.
it sounds.
Yeah, you have to sing it.
Yeah, you have to.
I
Wait,
can't-
he's squaring his shoulders. This is very
Yeah.
this is inspiring.
Like here's my take on it real
Okay.
quick. My take on it is for an artist like The Weeknd has like all these artists have specific sounds. I can't, me personally, wedge like let's just say I could possibly wedge like Gorillas in there somewhere in between those Weeknd songs, but I can't wedge in Bob Seger.
Well, yeah,
that's fair.
There's you couldn't. I don't think any of the ones that we have multiples with, you could just throw another song in between like 2 of their songs.
Yeah.
But I think that you could spread them out
Mhm.
throughout like
Sure.
have like 2 or 3 songs in between.
Mm-hmm.
The only one of the ones that we have multiples of that I feel would be good clumping together, because I don't like the idea of in a playlist like having just like blocks of just
Oh
one
no.
album.
Yeah, no, neither do
But
I.
I feel like
that.
a couple like having 2 Bob Seger songs back to back isn't a bad thing, especially something like Hollywood Nights with one of the other 2 slower songs fits well.
So I have a bit. I'll disagree here. The fact that I could see Turn the Page going into Hollywood Nights because he's talking about the woman he lost, or Turn the Page going into Night Moves, because with Hollywood Nights you have hard driving.
Right.
Turn the Page is still hard driving but lower key, and in Night Moves is just chill driving.
Turn the Page is long driving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
also
that's
true.
that's a good way
Also
to put that.
true.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that.
Also true. Man, some good stuff out there.
Yeah. Okay, so on God, you have to pick one. The closing song.
The closing song.
Pick the closer. Everybody knows mine.
Yeah.
Because it's the first one on my short
yeah,
I will
list.
say something I regret is not putting a lot of female singers on this.
I regret,
Mm.
and I was thinking there would be more of it on here. I regret not having more synthwave on here.
Yeah, I mean that's
I,
true.
I felt like there was stuff that I was missing. A lot of the things, like I said, just to like I had some things that I thought of, but just to make sure that that there was stuff that I didn't miss. I went through and looked through a whole bunch of like Reddit threads where people were like, "Hey, what's a good night driving song?" And like so much of that shit I did not know,
Right.
Because I'm very insular when it comes to music.
There's a lot of
but
70s
I'm
artists.
certain that if I heard it, I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, shit, that's a good one.
Like in hindsight, after talking about all this stuff, like Carly Simon, like You're So Vain sounds like a good night driving song.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to like synthwave type stuff, either the stuff or being or that type of stuff. I feel like I kept feeling like there was when I was making this list, I was like, there's something in the back of my brain that I'm missing.
Yeah. The Cars, a lot of the Cars songs,
but I couldn't it never came to my brain, so it's just gonna
I think that song's name is Drive.
It is probably
They do
Drive.
have a song called Drive.
Yeah. Duran Duran, most of their songs work.
Hungry Like the Wolf is I think a really
I didn't
good one.
think of this, but Depeche Mode's Personal Jesus.
Yeah.
Just the drive, like the punch that song every once in a while, like the reach out and touch faith. Like I don't know what
I think Enjoy the Silence also works.
Definitely for a long night drive. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're wanting to end the playlist mellowed out, I really wish y'all knew how What You Won't Do for Love went, because I feel like that would be like a really good ender.
From Bobby Caldwell.
I feel the same way about Red Wine Supernova. I think
that's the exact same point there. Yeah. Like I have to take y'all's word for that, and maybe like you know what? Tell you what, I'm gonna make this pledge right here. Passengers, if you comment on this episode with the playlist, make it however you want, order it however you want. If you want to do strikeouts, make it less than 20, feel free. But the first 5 passengers that comment on this episode with their playlists, I will listen to the entire playlist and I will give you my thoughts on them.
Oh, okay.
So it's and nobody else has to make that pledge. But again, the first 5 passengers that comment on Spotify with their playlist from the songs we picked in this one, I will listen to that playlist.
Oh, awesome.
And I will give you my opinions of it in a later episode.
I will listen to the first one.
He will listen to the first playlist.
I will listen to the 4th.
He will. If we get to 4 comments with playlists from this episode, Ethan will listen to that one alone, nothing else.
I'm going to submit 3 more just so I get to be the one that submits the 4th one.
And then all of a sudden it's just going to be audition.
Yeah.
So when we get to
Which isn't even a play. It's just a movie. What the fuck?
my gut with closing song is to end on more of an upbeat note, and I like Running Down a Dream for that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That ends on a pretty optimistic and high energy, so by the time you get out of your car, you're pumped and you want to fuck shit up. So that's my gut. That's
a solid.
That's what I like.
That's a solid thought.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, passengers, if you have your opinions on this, whether it's just on the songs we picked, your own playlists from this, or just other songs that you think we skipped over and would like to see on a playlist for Night Drivin', please, again, comment on Spotify or travelersontheomnibus at gmail.com. Again, that is Travelers on the Omnibus, 1L. And I completely fucked up the one thing that I've done since the beginning. Travelersontheomnibus at gmail.com.
I think that about wraps it up. If anybody's got any final thought, I think we've all just kind of given our final thoughts just now.
Yeah.
Another point to the. If you think of some synthwave stuff that would be good, specifically passengers, let us know.
Yeah, if you don't want to do a whole list, but you have
recommendations.
Recommendations. Throw out a couple of them.
We're definitely open ears.
And definitely, I would say check out The Weeknd, Bob Seger, and Gorillaz if night driving music interests you. Those there's not much. Gorillaz, maybe Plastic Beach. It doesn't really fit that great, but
their first couple of albums are.
But definitely those first 2 albums, Gorillaz and Demon Days.
Demon Days,
really, really hit that spot. I will say Cracker Island is also a pretty solid one, I think.
The first half of Dawn FM, I will say it again. It starts out with with the title track, Dawn FM, and then goes immediately into Sacrifice. And it's like, okay, we're moving now. And then it's Take My Breath. And then it's, what's the final song of that? And then it gets to the Quincy Jones interlude. And that's when we start getting like what I like to call the prom songs, which are all great. They're not night riding songs, but yeah, that first half of Dawn FM definitely.
I'll also throw out Deftones, especially White Pony and Around the Fur. Those are great.
Also, the Weekend Starboy album. That's also a really
that one was.
I also
on a lot of lists
with Starboy in particular. I credit both him, but also Daft Punk.
Yeah.
Any Daft Punk songs? That might be any Daft Punk songs that are night driving.
My thing about Daft Punk is I appreciate them more than I actually like them.
Okay.
I do like a couple of their songs a lot, but I appreciate them way more than I like them and listen to them.
I would say
so. I'm not as familiar with
the
them.
song he did with Pharrell, "Get Lucky."
Get Lucky is a really good one.
That's a good one. Daft Punk is One More Time. I would say that's a good one.
One More Time,
for sure.
I can think of a Daft Punk song I would never want to hear on any kind of night driving or specifically a road trip, and that's "Around the World."
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Which you would think that would be something around the world.
That
it's about
is
travel.
No.
That is the out of, and this is saying a lot, out of all of their discography, the most repetitive song that they have, in my personal opinion, except for maybe Buy It, Use It, and the rest of that song, Technologic, or whatever the name of that song is, is very repetitive. But
I would say for me, that's the second most repetitive thing in music, except for the drum track to you have to do you have to let it linger from Cranberries, because literally all the drummer's got to do on that is just hit it, tap 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 for like 7 minutes.
Right. Well, for me personally, and I wasn't talking about songs in general. I was talking about Daft Punk.
Right.
Around the World is said like 180 times in that song, and that's the only thing that is said in that song over and over again. And I liked it a lot when it came out. I can't listen to it.
That's a good idea for something that I don't think makes a good night driving song, is something that is really, really repetitive.
Extremely repetitive.
Like it was just kind of the same beat over and over again, or the same lyrics over and over again.
Yeah, like Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah.
That's not a
Rednecks.
From Scandinavia or something.
They had more than one song and they had more than one album. Figure that shit out.
I think that
What about Tub Thumper?
Or Chumbawamba.
Chumbawamba. There's probably a couple of good Chumbawamba songs.
Yeah, for sure. And there's in that category of late 90s, early 2000s, there's probably quite a few alternative rock bands. They have some good Black Hole Sun sound, even though it says
Black Hole Sun was on list, and I thought about putting that one on here.
That sounds like a pretty good one. I'm not a fan of Everclear, but some of their songs are probably good night driving songs.
Santa Monica, I think, is a good one for
Father of Mine.
Father of Mine I don't think is good, but
No.
Santa Monica.
But I was just making fun of the band. Some of the Sublime songs, Santeria,
Wrong Way specifically.
Wrong Way is good.
Yeah, that's on theme too.
Yeah, right.
But we're just naming songs.
Yeah, we're just naming songs at this point.
I think these are good lists.
We'd like to thank McNarb Gaming for this lovely studio space. Buy shit from McNarb Gaming. They've got all of it. It's great.
And also just buy like board games and card games.
Well,
also.
that's.
I would like to reiterate that you cannot buy feces at McNarb Gaming in Goshen,
I
Mississippi.
meant board games and card games. You know what I meant.
No, I know the generative things. They've got puzzles and shit.
Yeah,
but if without that context, where it's like McNarb more like manure gaming.
There's a card game about poo.
Yeah, it's literally called poo.
There are many
card games about poo.
You're supposed to use chocolate chips, but some people don't use chocolate chips.
They use actual poo.
Was that the one that came in the brown paper bag? There was one that came in about poo-pooing that came in the brown paper bag.
God, I hope so.
Maybe. I'm not.
Or it came in a box that looked like a brown paper bag.
I can neither confirm nor deny for lack of sufficient evidence.
There's one where you're like monkeys throwing poop.
That's poo. That's definitely poo.
That one's poo. Yeah, that one is poo. I remember. I can see the
cover. From the makers of Throw Burrito. Come Throw Poop.
I can see them doing
man, I don't want them to make little like spongy poops.
Oh, that's coming. It's coming.
Oh man, it's like a little. What's worse, the spongy poop or one that you would have to, or a turd that you would have to blow up?
On that note,
Follow
For
this for legal reasons, the spongy one. For anecdotal reasons, the inflatable one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
for Travelers on the Omnibus, I've been Jody Kite.
I'm Ethan Skinner.
I'm James McCarthy.
I'm Brady Davis.
Well, see you next time,
Bye-bye.
where we have no idea what the fuck we're going to talk
still
about.
have no
Absolutely.
idea.
Even though we spent like an hour at the end of the year figuring out show topics,
Yeah.
I
we
have to.
still don't know what
I
we're
have to do this edit quicker than I normally
Uh-huh.
would because I have jury duty next week.
Oh, wonderful.
Jesus.
Christ.
Yeah, so there's no editing next week. Like, so I think I'm gonna get this on the computer and then just straight up go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, mustard.